This is WhyBeAre with BeamNG.drive, and today we're going to be doing a fun little experiment. We're going to see on what planet is the Wentworth DT40L fastest on. For this test, we're going to be using the highway version of the bus, but there's one problem with it. It looks really boring, so we're going to add a paint job to it. How about we go with the zebra paint job so it camouflages in with absolutely nothing. Now, to measure the speed of the bus, we're going to be using the built-in performance timers. So the first thing we need to do is add those to the screen. So we go to Customize UI Apps, we hit the plus, and then we scroll down to Performance Timers, which I actually passed up a little bit. And we're just going to place them right there in the middle of the screen. And all I need to do now is just hold the throttle all the way down, and we will measure how long it takes the bus to get from 0 to about 62 miles per hour. It's 62 because it's actually set to 100 kilometers per hour, which roughly converts to 62 miles per hour. Now, I like this test versus a racetrack test because it's very scientific. All I have to do is hold the throttle down. If we try to race on a racetrack, there are a lot more variables there because you have to worry about how well I'm driving. And the answer is I drive inconsistently, which is very bad for a scientific test. We might do a little bit of driving in the end, but right now, this is how I want to start things off with a test of the 0 to 62 reading 32.28 seconds on Earth. Now, we need to do another planet, and what I'm going to do is, between every test, I'm going to reset the bus so it has the same amount of fuel in the tank, because that can actually make a difference. And for the planets, we're going to go from the highest gravity to the lowest gravity. And the highest gravity choice isn't actually a planet, it's the sun. And if you try to drive on the sun, well, nothing happens. The gravity is simply too strong, so that's 0 to 60 in never. So that's that. Now the next real planet is Jupiter, which has a gravity that's over double, almost triple the strength of Earth's. So I actually don't know if the bus will even be able to get up to 62 miles per hour. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it 60 seconds. If it can't get up to 62 miles per hour in 60 seconds, I don't have the patience for that. It might eventually make it if you have enough patience. But for this test, and for all intents and purposes, anything over 60 seconds is simply too slow because the first test was only 32 seconds. Speaking of which, it is now 32 seconds on this test, and we are only up to about 37 miles per hour. You might be thinking, oh, well, that's over halfway. It's only going to take another 30 seconds, except 10 seconds later, we're still at 37 miles per hour. Now, I'm looking at the speed on the bottom of the screen, not the one on the speedometer, which is reading 38. The one on the speedometer is a little less accurate than the one on the bottom as far as I know. The one on the bottom is reading the airspeed, where the one on the right is measuring the speed from the wheels. And that right there is 60 seconds, so we are never gonna make it there. Now, on to the next planet. This one is gonna be Neptune, which has a gravity of 11.15, which isn't that significantly different from the Earth. So I'm pretty sure this time it'll actually be able to reach up to 60 miles per hour. Now, will it be faster or slower? Well, obviously, it's going to be slower. If increasing the gravity makes it slower, this one's going to be slower. We just have to confirm that fact. And that is not always true, mind you. In some situations, the higher gravity will be faster. It just depends on the vehicle. If the vehicle has more power than traction, increasing the gravity will help. If the vehicle has more traction than power, like the bus, usually decreasing the gravity will help. So right there, we got a 0 to 62 time in 33.96 seconds. That's actually not that far off from the Earth time, which was just 32.28. That's about a second and a half difference. On to the next gravity now. The next gravity we're going to be testing is Saturn, which is right in between Neptune and Earth, but in the list, it's not. It's right here. And I just noticed the list here is really in just kind of a random order, isn't it? Like, okay, zero gravity, Earth, Moon. I get how those can all be grouped together. Then it goes to Mars and then Sun. It really is just kind of all over the place there. But anyways, this one should probably be right at about 33 seconds and maybe 0.25 if I had to guess. Basically, I just expect it to be right in between the first run on Earth and the second run on Neptune. It's right in between the gravity, so the time should be right in between the two as well. This should be the only run where I'm able to estimate how long it's going to take, because I know how long it took on a gravity that was higher and lower than this one. For all the tests we're going to be doing in the future, I won't have that information. I'll actually have to guess whether or not it'll be higher or lower. But we have now reached our time, and it is 33.12, only 0.13 off of my guess. So I would say that is a pretty solid guess. And now we go on to the next planet. Normally, that planet would be Earth. Well, we've already tested Earth, so we skip over Earth and go straight to Uranus. Uranus. WhyBeAre, stop being stupid. Sorry. No more Uranus laughing. Anyways, this is the first planet we're going to be doing where the gravity is lower than the Earth. This should also be the first one we do where the time is lower than the one we got on Earth. I don't think it's going to be much faster than Earth, but I think it'll be a little bit faster, maybe like a 31 point something second time. That's what I would guess. It's not going to be like, oh, the bus is suddenly doing quarter miles in 14 seconds or nothing like that. No, it's still a big old bus, and it took 31.24. If I remember correctly, that's about 1 second in total faster than the time we got on Earth, correct? Yep, just about 1 second. And the next planet we would do would be Venus, but I don't know if I'm actually going to bother with Venus because I don't know what gravity number the game has. So if we go to Venus, yeah, the gravity number is exactly the same. So there's really no point in testing both of them because they would have the exact same number. At least they should have the exact same number. Let's see. Does it make a difference? Actually, it will make a difference because we're going to get an ever so slightly different number, because even if I was on a perfectly flat surface and I was accelerating the vehicle, just flooring it, not steering at all, the number you get varies in this game a little bit. So that can make it really hard to do scientific-like testing when the differences are very, very small. Thankfully, when you have a really big bus, the differences are going to be really big like the bus. So you don't have to worry about that little bit of difference between each run. You don't have to do like 5 runs and average it out. You could just do 1 run, and that's going to be good enough. See, on that run, it was about 0.1 seconds slower. Not a huge amount, but it is worth mentioning. And now all we need to do is reset the gas tank. And this is where things are going to take a bit of a jump. We were doing really small changes so far. It was like 9.7 meters per second, then 10, then 11, then 8. Now we're going to go to Mars, which is 3.71 meters per second squared on its gravity. This one should make a really big difference. The question is the gravity too low for the bus to go as fast as it can? Because eventually, the gravity is going to get so low, the bus just spins its wheels. It didn't feel like it was spinning its wheels right there, though. It felt like it took off pretty smoothly, no real fuss about it, so I expect this time to be pretty good. And looking at the time so far, we're almost there. And we're only at 25 seconds. This is going to be a sub 30 second time. There we go, a 28.08 time. That is easily the best time we've had so far. But look at the stopping distance. It don't want to stop in this gravity. Oh man, that was crazy. Okay, so once again, we reset the bus to make sure the fuel tank is the same. And then we go to the next planet, which is pretty much the same as Mars. Actually, I don't know if I did these in the right order. Hopefully I did. Next is Mercury, which is 3.70. So I did do it in the right order. Woo! You know, actually, now that I think about it, did I do Uranus and Venus in the right order? Because I only know the planets to like 1 decimal. I'm surprised I even know that, to be honest with you. Like, I know it's, let's see, it's 3.7 for Mars and Mercury, and then Pluto is like 0.5. Although maybe it's 0.6 if you round it. I don't know. You know, I'm just hoping I'm doing it in the right order, actually. Let's just go with that. So far, I've done it okay, though. So with this small change, I don't actually expect to see a noticeable difference. Like, it might be faster, it might be slower, but I can't say for certain that it's faster or slower because of the gravity. Like, actually, I would expect it to maybe be a little bit faster because I didn't see any noticeable wheel spin or anything. But again, on the exact same circumstances, you could have 0.1 second difference. That was a 0.03 second difference. So again, let's just call them equal for now. And now, next test. I think things are going to get sketchy here. We're going to go to the moon, which I'm pretty sure has a higher gravity than Pluto. I didn't actually know the gravity of the moon, but it's 1.6, and I just said Pluto's like 0.5 or 0.6. Well, heck, Pluto's not even a planet anymore. Then again, the moon was never a planet. Okay, here, you can tell it is accelerating really poorly. It just can't get the traction, so it's kind of like it's skating across like it's on ice. It just can't accelerate well. It's gonna get up to 60 miles per hour, no problem. And if you're going for a top speed run, you can probably get the best top speed doing this. But if you want just the acceleration to get up to 62 miles per hour, it's not gonna happen very fast here. In fact, this will be the slowest time that we actually achieve, it looks like. It's gonna be close to 40 seconds. There you go, 36.74 seconds. And stopping, stopping's a joke, look at that. I'm slamming on the brakes. If anybody's in front of me, well, too bad for you. You're getting crashed into because it's no traction. Wheels are locked up now. We're just skating along. Oh, it's going into reverse because I'm holding the brakes so hard. Bus does not know what to do in this situation. All right, maybe I'll just, he's never going to come to a stop. Oh, man, imagine how bad it's going to be when we get on Pluto. Actually, on Pluto, I don't know if we're going to be able to get to 60 miles per hour. We might just not have enough traction here. So this is the final one to test. We can't test negative Earth, even though that's technically a lower number. It's just not possible. Did I reset the bus? I can't remember. We'll reset it one more time just in case. And we're off. Oh, yeah, we're really moving now. Okay, so you know what I said about theoretically the highest top speed? I actually take that back because wind resistance is probably the bigger factor. I don't know. That's a test for another day. But driving this thing, it's kind of drifting the whole way. I don't know if you guys are noticing this. It's not driving straight. It's just sliding along because I have so little traction. If we were patient enough, we could get up to 60 miles per hour. Do the same thing I did when we were testing Jupiter, though. I'll say, if it can get there within 60 seconds, great. If it doesn't, well, too bad. It took too long. And this is not going well at all. I do not think it's going to make it because we're not even halfway there. Although if you look at the speedometer, we're moving. 80 miles per hour. We are just flying. Except then you look at the actual speed and it's only about 31 miles per hour. We probably could have done off a little bit better if I was really careful with the throttle, but for every other test so far, it's just been floor it and see what happens. I wasn't about to change now, but we are now up to 60 seconds, which was my time limit. So let's go ahead and try to make this thing stop. It doesn't stop at all. Literally, like it's on ice. It just slides and slides and slides. And just for fun, I want to do one more quick comparison test. So like right here, you see for certain, the bus is fastest on Mars and Mercury. That's not true for every vehicle. So I'm going to go to the opposite end of the spectrum to demonstrate this to you. And for this test, I'm going to do a time trial based on distance because 0 to 62 in this car takes like 3 seconds. It's a really small window to measure. But if we do a quarter-mile drag race, then we have a good 10 seconds or so to measure the time because we're going to be using the drag version of the Barstow for these tests. And I'm pretty sure every time you reload the level, it resets the gravity as well. So this test should be on Earth gravity. And just from that launch, I can tell we are definitely on Earth gravity. That's a pretty decent launch. We wanted the wheelie bar a little too much, but overall it's a decent time of 8.324 seconds. So now let's try this again using the gravity from Mars or Mercury and see what the comparison is for that. So Mercury, here we go. Gonna do it exactly the same. I'm not gonna change a thing. We floor it and yeah, that is definitely not working. I had no control over that. The car was in the air like 95% of the time. It was only on the ground for a split second as we started. And you can just see it. It has too much power and it's too light. You try to drive this thing fast in this gravity, it's gonna fly into the air. And I can even build you a car, I'm pretty sure, that's fastest on Jupiter if I really wanted to. If you'd be interested in seeing that, do leave a comment and then maybe I could do that. But that's gonna do it for this video. Till next time, this has been WhyBeAre. And remember, if you like or dislike this video, I will know. I can pull out my telescope and I look at the moon and it tells me if you're liking or disliking videos. So do the right thing and I'll see you next time.